It was a rainy afternoon when I walked into the shelter. The sound of raindrops tapping against the windows filled the air, and the scent of wet earth was heavy. I hadn't planned on adopting a dog that day, but something drew me to the back of the shelter where the quieter older dogs were kept. In a small cage, tucked away from the others, sat Max. His eyes met mine, and for a moment, it felt like time stopped. He didn't bark like the other dogs. He didn't jump or wag his tail. He simply watched me with eyes full of hope, as though he was silently asking, "Will you be the one to take me home?" That day, I couldn't leave without him. But as the days turned into months, I began to notice the changes. At first, it was subtle. His steps were a little slower, his energy a little less vibrant. I didn't think much of it. After all, every dog ages. But then, as time passed, the changes became more noticeable. Max, who had once sprinted through the park with so much joy, now struggled to keep up. His legs grew weaker, and it became harder for him to climb stairs or walk for long periods. I tried to pretend that it wasn't happening, but deep down, I knew. I knew that time was running out for us. Watching Max struggle was one of the hardest things I've ever done. The same dog who had been so full of life, so full of love, was now lying on the couch for hours, barely lifting his head. His once bright eyes were now clouded with the weight of age, and his breathing was heavy and labored. I could see the confusion in his eyes sometimes. He would stare at me, almost as if asking, "What happened to the dog I used to be?" There were days when he couldn't even get up without help. I would carefully lift him, holding him close, trying to comfort him as best I could. But I knew that it wasn't the same anymore. The spark in his eyes had started to fade, and I couldn't stop it. I couldn't fix it. I could only be there for him. One quiet morning, I made a decision. I promised Max that I would take him on one last walk. A walk to the park. The park where we had spent so many happy moments together. The rain was falling softly, just like it had the day we first met. I carefully helped Max into the car, watching him as he lay on the seat beside me, his head resting against my side. It was as if he knew, as if he understood that this was our final journey together. We arrived at the park, and I carried him in my arms, just like I had when he was a puppy. The park was empty, peaceful, the way it always had been when we came here. We walked slowly, taking in every detail. The rustling of the leaves, the scent of wet grass, and the soft sound of the rain. We stopped at our favorite spot by the pond, and I let Max sit there for a while. He seemed to relax. his eyes closing as if he was savoring the moment. I stayed beside him, my heart heavy with the knowledge that this would be the last time. That evening, after our walk, I carried Max back home. He was exhausted, but there was a peacefulness about him that I had never seen before. He rested his head on his bed, looking up at me one last time with those tired eyes, and then, quietly, he let go. Max passed away peacefully that night in the comfort of his own home, surrounded by love. I stayed with him until the end, whispering to him, telling him how much he meant to me. I promised him that I would never forget him, that I would carry him in my heart forever. Some bonds, no matter how fleeting, last forever. Now, every time it rains, I feel Max with me. His spirit is still here in the quiet moments, in the gentle rain, in the soft breeze. He may be gone, but the love we shared will never fade. It stays, tucked in the corners of my heart, a constant reminder that some love never ends.